Camaro Loc is a collection of interlocking luxury vinyl tiles and planks that are simple to install and require no adhesive fixing. We recommend that a suitably qualified flooring installer is employed to install Camaro Loc. This instructional presentation is intended to assist professional flooring installers in getting the job done right, first time and every time. This video should be viewed in conjunction with the written installation instructions, which can be found on the top of all Camaro Loc boxes and also on our website. Upon receiving Camaro Loc, check that the shade and design reference on the boxes match the customer's order requirements and are from the same batch. Camaro Loc is a quality-controlled product and should reach you in perfect condition. However, you should always check for any visual defects in the material prior to installation and cutting. Make sure that the boxes are protected against dirt and moisture during storage. Prior to installation, place the boxes in the installation room for at least 48 hours before you install the floor. This ensures that the material will acclimatize correctly. Maintaining the correct room temperature is important when installing Camaro Loc. This should be anywhere between 18 degrees C and 26 degrees C. Camaro Loc can be installed over most hard subfloors, provided they're prepared in accordance with local standards. Subfloors must be hard, clean, and free from contamination, dry, durable, flat, and sound. Solid subfloors must be tested in accordance to local standards to ensure they're not damp. Before starting the installation, always check with the customer what direction they would like the floor tiles or planks to be installed. This is particularly relevant when installing wood plank designs. The direction of lay normally follows the longest side of the room, unless the Camaro Loc is being installed in a room directly adjacent to bifold, patio doors, or large floor-to-ceiling windows, in which case the longest side of the plank or tile should always run at right angles to the incoming light. When installing Camaro Loc, always use the dedicated Polyflor vinyl lock underlay underneath, as this has an anti-slip surface optimized for the installation of Camaro Loc. No specialist tools are needed to install Camaro Loc, just the standard tools that any professional flooring installer will already have, including a utility knife and a carpenter's square. Unlike click-type systems, a hammer, tapping block, or a pull bar are not required. When installing Camaro Loc, it's important to remember that it's a floating floor and is not fixed to the subfloor underneath. You must therefore ensure an expansion gap of at least 4 mm is left around the entire perimeter of the floor and anything that protrudes up through the floor, such as heating pipes and columns. You must also leave the same size expansion gap around door frames and fireplace hearths. Calculating the size of the expansion gap required is simple. You must allow 1 mm for every meter length of the floor. So a room 8 meters by 7 meters with tiles fitted along the longest wall will require an expansion gap of 8 mm around the entire perimeter of the room, plus any door casings, columns, fireplace hearths, radiator pipes, and anything else that protrudes through the floor. This gap must be left clear, with no mastic, silicone, or any other type of filler inserted to allow for expansion. A larger expansion gap should be allowed across door thresholds, which can be covered afterwards by fixing a threshold strip or door bar to bridge the two sections of flooring. If you're in any doubt, then please consult the Polyflor Technical Department for further advice. Start to lay the floor in the left-hand corner of the room. Camaro Loc has an angled locking system, with each tile or plank joined together by angling in and pressing down into the profile of the previous tile or plank. Press the male end profile down into the female profile at an angle of approximately 45 degrees and gently lower down until it locks into place. Complete subsequent rows using the same method. When you come to the end of a row, turn the last plank around so that the male profile faces the male profile of the previous plank and push the end of the last plank tight to the wall. Mark where to cut the last plank with a pencil, remembering to leave room for the expansion gap. The last plank should not be less than 350 millimeters in length. Start the next row using the leftover tile or plank from the first row and place against the wall. Insert the next plank at an angle against the plank in the previous row, press forward to adjoin the two profiles together, and gently lower the plank down at the same time. Always ensure you stagger short header joints, minimum of 150 millimeters from the adjacent short header joint in the previous row. If the walls are uneven, the plank should be marked or scribed to its contours, not forgetting to include the required expansion gap, and cut to shape. To cut the planks to fit the last row in the room, position them one at a time directly over the previous row in the direction you will be laying them. Hold them down firmly in place and then line up a third plank on top. Use the edge of this top plank to mark the cutting line with a pencil and cut the plank beneath. Remember to add on the required expansion gap. When fitting Camaro Loc around pipes, mark the center of the holes on both the long and short sides of the plank using a carpenter's square and a pencil. Where the marks cross, drill a hole using a spade bit wide enough to accommodate both the pipe and the required expansion gap. Cut around the hole using a sharp utility knife and install the plank. If necessary, you can place a bead of contact adhesive on the cut piece to fix it to the main plank to fill the blank area created. Ensure you insert a spacer directly behind the inserted piece along the wall and leave this in place until the adhesive has hardened. Door frames can also be undercut to accommodate Camaro Loc. Cut the door frame with the saw sitting flat on top of a Camaro Loc offcut, and then slide the plank under the door frame. Make sure the Camaro Loc slides smoothly underneath and does not snag. Because Camaro Loc is a floating floor, it can be walked on straight away after it's been installed. Remember to take out any offcuts or spaces you've used to gauge the expansion gap around the perimeter. Skirting boards, baseboards, quadrants, or scotia can be used to conceal the expansion gap. However, they should not be fitted directly onto the surface of Camaro Loc. Leave a small gap between the two, allowing for the natural movement of the plank. Your new Camaro Loc floor is now complete. These instructions have been designed to make installing Camaro Loc quick and simple, whilst providing a professional-looking floor finish for your customers. Don't forget to give your customer a copy of the cleaning and maintenance instructions for Camaro Loc, so they can ensure it looks as good as new for years to come. Thank you for watching.